to its lowest level in 2 years yesterday, raising the question as to whether or not the bubble has well and truly burst. Joining me in the studio to discuss is Dr. Frank Hollenbeck. Frank, thank you for coming in again.
Good to be here.
Now, there has been this fear when you think about stocks, bonds, housing are all back in the bubbles everywhere. Even the recent decline in gold prices and the bubble of the Bitcoin phenomena seems also to be, very much prominent. It's putting the markets on edge, Frank, but what is your take on the whole situation at the moment?
The Bank of Japan has indicated that it intends to monitor whether its quantitative easing is actually creating bubbles. There are two things we know about bubbles. The first one is that you don't see them coming. As we saw in 2005, 2006, a lot of people were saying that housing prices were going up because of fundamentals, and even Bernanke said that he didn't see a housing bubble being created. Okay, and the second thing we know about bubbles is that they usually don't come back. Just like the tulip bubble didn't come back, neither did the dot-com bubble come back, even though we had an excessive amount of monetary easing during the 2001-2007 period. And the same, we can say essentially the same thing for gold. In other words, a lot of people were saying it's fundamentals that are driving gold prices up, in the sense that it's all this quantitative easing, which is basically reducing the store value function of money, which is driving people toward gold. However, gold has fallen 24% since its high in 2011, and as we saw on Friday, it dropped 5% and dropped another 9% on Monday. So we may be seeing the busting of the gold bubble. Now, we've also had the busting of the Bitcoin bubble, okay? But that actually might be beneficial because it's going to take out some of the speculative aspects that have been existing in Bitcoin. Now, let me say something about Bitcoin. It was actually created by Satoshi Nakamoto, but that's really just a pseudonym. So we don't really know how it was created, if it was created by a series of engineers. We don't know, okay? And we currently have about 11 million Bitcoins, okay? And just like gold, you can mine, I should say, Bitcoins, in the sense that what you need to do is use your computer to solve randomized mathematical puzzles. However, these puzzles become more difficult and the payout becomes less and less. So that what will happen is by 2040, there will only be 21 million Bitcoins, and then there won't be any more being produced. Okay. Now, the way you purchase Bitcoins is that you need to create what is called an electronic wallet, and that only takes about 2 minutes. Either you go on the Bitcoin site or you go to My Wallet, and they'll create a electronic wallet for you, and then you can just purchase Bitcoins with other individuals. Okay. Now, the key thing though about Bitcoin is its anonymous feature, in the sense that you could, for example, go to BitInstant, and for a 4% fee, you could walk into a bank or into Walmart or into 7-Eleven and basically buy Bitcoins with cash. That allows it to be very anonymous. Okay, that's why a lot of the purchases right now for Bitcoins is primarily membership to porn sites. The purpose is for anonymity, and we also have sites such as Silk Road, where you can actually purchase illegal drugs. By the way, I do not do this. You can actually purchase illegal drugs and have them delivered to your door.
Certainly very interesting, and also thank you very much, Frank, for your clarification. But Bitcoin, it really is, topping the charts as this new tech phenomenon. There has been some chat subsequently that it could actually succeed as a mainstream currency. Do you believe there is a future for Bitcoin?
Well, the most important feature of Bitcoin is its store value function, in the sense that what's been going on is that governments worldwide have been destroying the store value function of their currencies. And I'm pretty sure that if the U.S. government tomorrow morning was to say they're not going to print another dollar, I think Bitcoin would cease to exist very quickly. Now, the advantage of Bitcoin is it's a peer-to-peer system, a bit like Napster or Kazaa, in the sense that there's nowhere for the government to shut it down. In other words, there's has no central location. It's basically everywhere, everywhere in the internet. However, I'm sure that the government would find a way to not only tax Bitcoin transactions, but also probably shut it down if it ever got to any significant size. The reason is that governments do not like for you to compete with them in the printing of money, and I'm sure that Bitcoin may run into some problems with legal tender laws.
Well, it's certainly something very interesting, and we will see how it plays out. Now, something else which is actually talk of the town, particularly in the US, is a book, a rather bulky book, 700 pages long, but it's by David Stockman, and it's talking about the Fed. It's very critical, saying that they are basically a bubble machine. You also have been a little bit critical of the US Fed, I think it's fair to say, in previous interviews anyway. But how do your opinions perhaps differ, would you say, from Mr. Stockman's?
Well, David's book is actually a bestseller, and it's good to see that his ideas about the Fed are going mainstream. Not only do I think that the Fed is a bubble machine, I think it's the root of the income differentials that we've seen growing in the United States. Now, David Stockman advocates going back to the gold standard, okay? And he's been criticized because people say, well, when we were under the gold standards, we also had booms and busts. What these people don't seem to understand is it's not the gold standard that created the booms and busts. It was actually the fractional reserve banking system that was built on top of the gold standard. So if we ever go back to the gold standard, we also need to eliminate the fractional reserve banking system. This is where I differ with David Stockman. He wants to build a gold standard on top of the current system that we have, while I think that we need to, clear the house out and rebuild the foundations by basically restructuring the way we do banking today.
Excellent. Frank, once again, very interesting points you've made there. Do appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it. We have everything from new tech phenomena to building the now foundations of the US Federal Reserve. But thank you very much for watching Dukascopy TV, and goodbye for now.